Well, it's August, friends. Whew. We made it to Leo season. Ah, yes. Now we get to celebrate all the lions in our lives. And guess what? There are a bunch of them. But you know what else? I'm a lucky woman. I'm one of the luckiest people you'll ever meet at this moment in time. I'm surrounded today by fabulous gardeners, beautiful flowers, and frankly, somebody that knows how to run all this equipment better than anyone else. And that would be Mark Peaches Patrick and the one and only Lance. Hey, y'all.
What up, GM? Welcome back into the saddle.
It's nice to see y'all in the real world here for a moment. There have been lots of questions. That's another reason that I say I'm lucky and that anybody really even cares what I'm doing. But let's start with this. There's a beautiful piece of property on North State Street in Jackson that is for sale. It is more than an acre, and it can be the place of your dreams because it has lots of space and lots of potential. That's my house. I've moved. There's only me. It's too big for me. Plus, as you all probably know, most of my children live in Louisiana, where we're from, and where those particular two were born. And they want Mama to be closer because Mama's no spring chicken, and they would like to be able to take care of me. So that's what we're doing. And I'm the luckiest person in the world. SuperTalk is allowing me to keep broadcasting. I get to take their equipment and put it into my son-in-law's studio at their house, and then I also get to come here and be with y'all. It's the best of everything. So it's a win-win for me, and I really feel like hard work pays off. So good morning. Hi, y'all.
Good morning.
Is that enough? Did I say enough?
No, you need to. Actually, I had several questions. Just in the office this week,
well,
where's Garden Mama? I thought,
yeah. Did I say enough?
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. It's real. It's literally. And I'm going to tell you this too, folks. If you haven't, if you're rolling over into the retirement years, quote unquote, or if you're lucky enough to retire at an earlier age than some of us ever will, but anyway, if you haven't figured out these things, you need to talk to your family. You need to figure out what you're going to do and how it's going to work, because the not knowing is always worse. Trust me. When you don't know, you can think up all kinds of horrible things in your head. Just like in your garden, you look at that bug and you think, oh, this bug is going to eat everything in my yard. It turns out to be a cicada, and your dog ate it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Almost.
you can worry, but you still have to make a plan that goes forward. So
Yes. The only thing we were missing was a drum roll for that little segment.
I know people, I just appreciate that anybody wants to know.
I have been getting questions, and hopefully you're listening or watching, and now you know.
Now you know. It's all very simple.
It is.
The time has not come yet when I can't make my own decisions, and therefore I'm making a very good one.
Make a big one.
You never can tell what will happen in another minute. But, for example, today is National Sunflower Day because those folks, the sunflower folks, had sense enough to say the first Saturday in August. They didn't put some date on it. They didn't have some, the first Saturday in August. So there we are.
I was real excited
These are
when
beautiful.
I saw that we landed on that one. I was like, wait, what are the odds of that?
Well, and sunflowers are really one of our best crops in the South. We do a whole lot of it. We don't grow as many as we could because we have other things that are probably more profitable. But, the United States altogether, the Dakotas grow most of them for sunflower oil. And it's like 1+ billion pounds of sunflowers.
Right.
So when you go to, my friend's place in Holmes County and you see 4 acres of them and you're just stunned, it's a magnificent sight. But there's places like that all over the state here, all over the South, and certainly in the upper Midwest.
My first memories, one of my dad's sisters lived in a town called Silver Lake, Kansas, and we would always go there in the summer to visit. And there we
and y'all probably there was silver in the bottom, and
they
got like silver spoons and all that stuff. Yeah.
Heated pools.
Yeah, heated pools.
And there would be just hundreds.
You do know that
acres.
this man sleeps in a pup tent when he travels, don't you?
I'm
giving away a secret.
No, it's actually a glow-in-the-dark kids tent. It's just my size.
Well, I know the pictures are cute. I do know
it's fun. But acres and acres of sunflowers.
So gorgeous. So beautiful. Our friends, of course, on the coast here just had their think it might have been their last picking at Coastal Ridge. But there's always opportunities to grow sunflowers, and it is one of the first things that people hand the seed to the child to plant in a little cup to take home, because the seed's big enough for their hands. They may not have fine motor skills yet, but they can certainly grip that, and that makes it, to me, that's just a delight. I really am happy that we landed here that day. Now, if we want to work this into the later part of the day and into the evening, this is also Mead Day.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Yeah. Now, Mead Day, for those of y'all. Okay. In the yard this week, there have been hummingbird hawk moths, which are neither hummingbirds nor hawks, but they are moths, okay? They're the ones with the fat bodies that float around and kind of go in swarms and really have a wonderful, wonderful time. And I think that's at least part of the whole confusion of everything, is everything has some other name. So mead is called honey wine. Well, honey's involved, but it's not wine. So, anyway, we can explore that today if anyone is interested.
I have actually had mead before. I'm not a fan.
I've been to a mead making party before.
Yeah,
it's an English
fan,
major
but,
thing.
I had a friend named Chad Mead.
I like
I've
that.
never had mead.
Did
He
you
looked like a Nordic, though. He looked like he could drink some mead.
Something, yeah. Well, it's definitely it's a cold winter's night thing. I don't know why they celebrate it in the summer, except you make it now and put it away so that it's really alcoholic by the time it gets cold. That would be my thought. Yes, that would be my thought, because yeast is involved. So.
Oh yes.
Anyway, Greg and Vaughn, good on you. Beautiful, beautiful this morning. Those blackberries are telling me cobbler all day long.
Here we go.
And
I love blackberries.
the Gomfrinas are
Gracious.
beautiful too. The little bachelor buttons. He's got a beautiful, beautiful set of things going there. That's wonderful. Oh, this is really pretty. This is a big old lantana. We were talking, Mark has a lantana that's about to eat the back of his house.
It is huge.
It's really pretty.
It is huge.
Really pretty. This one's lovely, too, and it's also on the way to taking over the front corner of the property. So the question is, and you're going to have to help with this one. I have a massive lantana. This is Chris in Boonville, in a planter that I want to put in the flower bed and have it come back. I've seen it done, but I was wondering if you have tips for it.
Yes. One thing you have to do with most lantanas, or all lantanas as far as I'm concerned, is in the wintertime, before we have a killing freeze, you need to cut them to the ground and mulch them well.
I agree.
But if you're going to do that this year, you should probably do that today.
That's probably a good idea.
To get it.
And as a matter of fact, if your lantana is all eaten up and doesn't look good,
Cut it
it's a
way
good
back.
thing to do right now, because it'll come back for fall.
Cut it way back. Go ahead and get it planted and really nurse it.
Yeah,
to get it settled
pay
in.
attention to its roots.
Right.
The main thing about lantana going from a container to the ground, for me, certainly it needs all of the things that you say in terms of taking good care of it. I want to be sure your soil drains well.
Yes.
So, because it's going to have to be able, if it gets in soggy soil, the transplanting's not going to go so well.
It's not going to go
But
well
I love
at
the
all.
idea of going ahead and cutting it back and getting it done, so that then you can really kind of, a little root stimulator, a little compost tea, a little attention, and get it to start growing again. It could possibly take off. It might just sit there, but it's going to be fine. Lantana's a tough plant.
And there's also some variances in some of the new hybrid lantanas that are bred to be small.
Yeah.
Are less likely to come back.
Yeah,
they're
they're more tender.
I
think.
had them come back in our garden, but we have a really unusual microclimate in some spots.
Yeah.
But
And you have raised beds. You have lots of good, well-drained soil for it.
yeah, we do. So I'd go ahead and do it now.
My personal position has been forever that if you have heavy, wet soil, as I have gardened in the majority of my life, that's what the cold, wet soil in the winter kills more marginal perennials than anything else.
Yes. Yeah.
they're dead before the temperature drops if the soil has been too wet. So anyway, just an idea. I hope that'll help, Chris, because it's a beautiful plant. It's a bright yellow, and there's 3 or 4 yellow lantanas. I'm not going to guess whose name.
You said 3 or 4.
10, 15,
Thank
40.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
there's
you.
a lot of yellows. A lot of yellows. We're now going back and forth. Anyway, we'll talk about the galls later. That's another thing. Thank you, Bubba. Good luck. Thank you. Luck is a funny thing. You do have to make your own. Sometimes we can have happenstance and have things happen, and you go, well, that was lucky. That car did not run right into me, or that kind of thing, which happened this morning. But I really do think that you have to want things to happen. You have to put a plan in place, and still, there's always things that don't go like you expect. Believe me, but if better not to be caught too completely off guard. I think that's how I feel. Wow. When you look at SuperTalk.tv today, you're going to see an accomplishment of mine that I'm so proud of. The temperatures at my place in South Louisiana and at my place here in Jackson have been really hot, really, really hot. So I decided to do an experiment and plant some green beans because this is the time to plant green beans for the fall. And I thought, this is hilarious. They're going to sit there. They're going to probably just die because even if they come up, they'll just keel over. It's too hot. Well, all the pots, these are in window boxes, all the pots are up and growing, and just since yesterday have extended about another ½ inch out of the soil. So I think it's going to work. Now, you don't know until you get a bean if it worked or not.
Right.
But the good news is, don't be daunted. It's time for the fall garden. Go ahead, give it your best shot. It's time to do it. And Mark, I really think we're missing something if we're not doing some fall. If we're not, for instance, looking to be sure if the caladiums are blooming that we cut the flowers off so the leaves can keep coming.
Right.
Those kind of things that we might just walk past. The hostas have finished blooming. Okay, great. Go ahead and cut the flower stems off. They'll make some more leaves. They won't bloom again, but they'll just enjoy them.
One of the thing that astounds me the most about people that live in Mississippi, in this area, that so many of them skip fall gardening.
I know. And we know you have other things on your plate.
But,
I'm a football fan too, But.
Yeah, technically, some of the harvest and the rewards of fall gardening are even better than summer gardening.
Much better.
Because it's a slower process. And then, when everything starts bearing fruit or, vegetables, it's the time of year when there's nothing that you remember from summer left.
Well, and you're right, including the insects in many cases.
Exactly. Exactly.
There's many fewer stink bugs in October than there are in July.
You hardly ever see a tomato hornworm in
very, very
October.
Seldom. Very, very seldom.
Very seldom. So get out there and experiment
the things that
with
frustrate
the fall.
us sometimes are not present in the other, but because the garden culture, I realize that culture is different every place, but the garden culture is all about the spring.
Yes.
In the message world, and so every year there's all of these fall is for planting and all these things, and we just have to keep putting the word out because it's true. And when you don't take advantage of the best season, I feel like you've missed a shot, and it may frustrate you for the rest of it, particularly if you had a garden like someone whose name will not be mentioned, me, that sort of flopped out this spring. There was so much water that, the tomatoes grew a foot and fell over in some cases, but,
I had a terrible tomato
some blight,
year.
different things happen to stuff. But that's, to me, that's the other reason for fall gardening is, well, that's not going to beat me. I'm going to do this, and it's going to be better this time.
Right.
So.
And I think, there's a lot of misinformation out there, too, about fall gardening, and I think people are confused about timing on it.
It's such a bad term, isn't it?
Because
second season would be better.
Yeah. The whole world has, that whole Good Friday. Grandma doesn't plant till Good Friday, but nobody says, Grandma planted 2 days after Labor Day.
She did.
She did, but
that's
nobody,
when she planted her
heard
mustards,
right.
that kind of stuff. My lantanas have stopped blooming. Should they be pruned? Yes. This is the perfect time to do that. Impatiens, sun patiens, most of even vincas, but the vincas just seem to be blooming everywhere. They don't care this year. But the other things that have kind of wimped out on you, this is a good time in that annual category to cut those back.
Well, this is a fun story. I don't think I've had time to tell you, but some of the containers I did as Southern Charm Garden Design Service, I had to go groom last Saturday. And all of you Purple Heart, Secretia, whatever, lovers, I hate to tell you, but I had 2 contractor bags full.
It does grow fast.
And it's very heavy.
Yeah.
And that was out of 7 containers.
That's wild. And you know what? If we had a screen house and we rooted all those, we could sell them in Ohio for actual. And down here, we're literally ripping them up because they're just overwhelming everything. Southern Shield fern is the same way. Yesterday, I had a chance to visit some friends that have Southern Shield fern at the front of their house, and it has gone from being 2 feet wide to being 6 feet wide
right.
as a border, which I like. But, the question is, how do you get it out very carefully? Because it's all, it's a serious
one.
thatch. People that don't like it, though, that's the reason they don't like it. I love the lime green foliage on that fern. I think it's just so dramatic. But you put it under a tree along with cast iron plant, they'll duke it out, and you'll have light green and dark green all the time.
And this is embarrassing, but I have tried to get that plant started in our garden 3 or 4 times, and I have never succeeded.
You don't neglect enough.
I guess not.
No.
I'm too nice.
You're too nice to your plants.
Yeah.
Southern Shield really does need, when you take it, when somebody gives it to you, it's usually like a 1 foot square, like it's as if it were a piece of sod, but it isn't.
Right.
And it'll be just basically in the wintertime when the leaves have got sticks, standing out, and you literally take that and put it where you want it in the bed and forget about it.
I think you and I have
that's very difficult to do because you want us to go look at it, especially in June, and see if it's coming up. But it will if you ignore it.
And in case you ever wondered the conversations that Garden Mama and Peaches have when we're on the road, we had the conversation about the patch of Southern Shield fern in Hot Coffee, Mississippi.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that?
Whoa.
It was.
Incredible.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful, and it's one of those things that stands out. You can't be dramatic with everything, but we're dramatic with this. We got to get out of here for a couple of moments. We're going to come back. I want to talk to you about something else you need to do this August, and I know it's hot, but trust me, you can handle it. This is the Garden Mama Show. All right, here's a factoid for you. Everybody knows, I hope, this is Scarlet Begonias from the Grateful Dead, done by the Pickin' on the Everybody group that does that type of music. I was yesterday years old when I found out that the reason why Surrealistic Pillow by the Jefferson Airplane sounds the way it does is because they had Jerry Garcia come and play with them. They loved him that much. Now, I realize all those people knew one another. I get that. But I did not know that particular piece of the puzzle, and so I went back and listened to a couple of cuts, and sure enough, you can hear him in there when when you get that in your head, he's there, you can hear that. The influences that we have on each other. When I think about the plants that are in my world that are the result of knowing you, Mark, knowing you, Lance, knowing everybody, there's a whole slew of people that are kind enough to exchange green materials with each other. Here, this will bloom in about a month, or you need to grow this one for about 10 years, or whatever it is. But we were talking yesterday about sometimes the gift plants are the ones that really do the best because it was unexpected. And yeah, you give them a little bit more attention maybe because you don't want to lose your reputation, but at the same time, people who give you good plant gifts really do win a place in your heart, and there's no doubt about that.
I have several plants named after people.
Oh, sure.
I name them after whoever gave them to me, especially if there's something that is really awesome.
I name plants by how they remind me. I have a couple of thorny plants that are named after someone that I think is very thorny.
There you go. And then there's their toxic plants.
And then there are a few that we don't talk about that, but they do have names.
Yeah.
Now, y'all, listen, it's August. I know the temptation is to turn on the air conditioner and just start waiting and counting the days until something else happens. The kids have started school in a lot of places. A lot of them start next Monday. So you're waiting for that bus. You're waiting for the carpool line. You got all those things going on. But guess what? Your garden is still out there going, hey, we'd really like to look nice when the relatives come for Halloween or Thanksgiving or whatever it is. One of the best things that you can do, and one of the reasons people don't grow this plant is because middle of the summer, a lot of our roses really don't look so great.
No.
We just, they've bloomed out. Maybe they've got even have got some diseases maybe in the leaves a little bit of yellowing or a little bit of spotting. Maybe we got rose hips. Maybe the flowers were big and then the next group was T90. We can fix all that. You can rejuvenate your roses right now by pruning them. Now, let's talk about how to prune and how to prune which ones. First of all, if you have a once blooming climbing rose, you have a rose on a trellis and it only blooms in the springtime, leave it alone. Don't fool with it right now. You should have pruned it right after it bloomed. That's the only one that's in that category. But even if you have hybrid tea roses that you grow for the cut flowers, maybe you arrange for the church or you like to do that sort of, you grow cut flowers, you grow roses. Maybe you just like them with the nice thick stem, and so you grow hybrid tea roses. Those need to be cut down, hold your breath, to 18 inches off the ground because they're literally going to send up brand new canes and brand new flowers. When it comes to our shrub roses, landscape roses, antique roses, old garden roses, whatever you want to call them, and this does include drift, even though it's a short one, and those kind of runs, we're going to cut at least a quarter off of them because we want to stimulate some new growth, but we don't want to actually change the character of the shrub unless it needs it. If you've got a dead patch in one of your roses, cut that out right now. The rest of it will come in and fill it up. And yes, you can fertilize them after you do all of that. The thing about roses that the people that don't like them usually say it's because of the thorns. Yeah. I think it's because they don't look good all the time. So I think the thorns might be a problem, but it's also that they're just not ever blooming. Now, you have a few things that will probably bloom over and again, and that's wonderful. But we really do have to put ourselves to work this month in August to prune those roses back, give them a chance for the fall flowering, and yes, do a little bit of fertilizing too. Should we change the mulch, Mark? What do you think?
I would say based on if you have disease problems, if you have bad disease problems, black spot,
this would be the time to do that.
Mildew, stuff like that. It would be time to change the mulch.
You're absolutely right.
But if your roses have stayed, fairly clean, no, not so much. And I do a lot of my rose gardening that probably the rose people would frown upon.
Well, I went to a meeting of rosarians once and discovered that I don't know anything.
I know, right?
So then I went and met a friend who grows roses, learned from her. She's a rosarian, but she was able to talk to me in ways that I could understand.
But you actually saw, we're on our second good flush, and I feel like I'll have a third this year.
I think so. I mean, you should. The thing that really slows them down for the fall is if the weather has been brutally hot and dry. Right. Because then you have to literally start watering and carrying on with them. But this year, that's not been the issue. The issue has just really, in many cases, been overgrowth, so much water that the cells expand incredibly. Oh, I'm going to make a bad joke. Y'all, I didn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Did y'all see the subways in New York flooding this week? 3 inches in an hour. They are not prepared. No. They are not prepared. No. It inundates them and destroys everything. And I hate it. I mean, I'm not making a joke about what happened to them, but I'm just saying we always complain about our infrastructure, but our infrastructure holds up pretty well compared to that because we've been getting rounds and rounds and rounds of rain in a lot of places, and it's good and it's bad. We got to go to collecting the water, though. That's for sure.
So while we're discussing roses, let's go back to another one that I had jotted down notes, and I actually did this for my neighbor I'm trying to make her become a big-time gardener.
Push.
There is a crepe myrtle on the property line. Of course, ours, I can't deadhead ours. They're way too tall. I'd have to have a cherry picker. But if you have spent
when
blooms,
you do that, I want to.
You want to watch?
Yeah, I want to see the video for sure.
It won't be me and the cherry picker, I promise. Cut your dead blooms off, and you should get new blooms on your crepe myrtles.
You will.
Especially if they're small enough, and if you've got a dwarf, get out there and prune them.
And really, when they're young plants, they can be small and be that particular species, but if you've got one that's going to get big, when they're small enough to do a little of that deadheading, you can also shape the tree up.
You can.
And get it so that when it gets taller and you can't prune it, you've got something that's a shape you wanted it to be. So I like that.
And, on the rose side, I have been to the Antique Rose Emporium in Texas numerous times. They have a spring open house in the fall.
Yeah.
To me, the fall when the roses are prettier than in the spring.
That's the only time I was there. They also, by the way, for those of y'all who are fans of the Antique Rose Emporium, and if you don't get their newsletter, it just gets better every week. I don't know who's doing it. I've only been there one time, but I do have a couple of roses from them. And they've always done beautifully for me. But I have to say, they've got the new roses and the why you do this with roses and the why you do that. They've got some good topics and some things that are actually quite enlightening. So
it's
I like
good
that.
information. Yeah, we're talking about people that grow tens of thousands of roses.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They
well,
know.
And because, because I'm a writer, I'm going to say, but they hadn't been real that good about telling you about it until recently.
Until recently.
I don't know if they hired a writer or grew one, but they're doing better, that's for sure. Thank you very much. You're so sweet. Everybody's so kind. Thank you very much. Says Franklin County. Appreciate you. People say such nice things to me. Garden Mama has friends. Nellie has a few friends, but Garden Mama has friends. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. I wonder where you are. Let's see if I can figure this out. No, I don't know where you are. Okay, you had a pretty fern. The question is, when do these begin producing bananas? Thanks. And to be flip, I would say right after they bloom. But I don't know where you are, so I can't tell you I don't know which variety this is. So I can't tell you. Not all mousses are alike. MUSA. That's the name of the banana family. And so some of them are blooming right now. Some of them are beginning to fruit right now across the South. And some others just look like they have more brown leaves than they should. It just depends on your particular banana.
I feel like I'm in Brazil or something when I see that one. Again.
It's beautiful,
isn't
that's
huge.
It's gorgeous.
I like the question, too. It's like, at what point do I get a banana out of this deal?
Well, and that's really a hard question to answer because it literally, there are some that will bear in the second year. There are others that don't bear for 10 years, and there's some that, frankly, in the growing situation, it depends on how crowded they are, how much fertilizer they have, and what kind. I mean, there's a lot of different factors about it. Traditionally, in Zone 8 and north, we grow bananas as a lovely ornamental leaf that might bloom one day. Okay?
Yeah.
But when we get to 8B and we move further south, usually they're going to bloom in July and be putting on bananas at this point, which doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to ripen before the weather changes, but that's usually what happens. And but whether it's 3 or 5 years old is hard to say too.
Yeah, I have a spot by the pool that looks like a Chiquita farm.
It does. It's beautiful.
And I always end up. We get quite a few little baby bananas, but of course they don't ever mature.
Well, we can talk about forcing them to do that, but not today. That's a fall topic.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would say, since these do look like Brazil, and you're right about that, Lance, I'm going to say that this looks like a very, very, either it's getting shade in the morning or it's getting shade in the afternoon, and because it's against this wall, and I believe it's probably shade in the morning because it looks like they're really growing fast. So I think it's a beautiful spot for them.
Well, my question would be in regard to that, is it best to have them exposed 360 degrees to the elements or having them against a wall? Or
see, that again, it depends on where we are. If we're in Starkville, if we're in Winona, we want them to have a little bit of protection so that they can survive the winter. Okay, particularly if this wall happened to be on the north side, that would be ideal. But you still might not get bananas out of them, but you might get the plants to survive. When I first moved to Jackson, I saw something I had not seen before, and I have lived around banana people all my life. I had a neighbor, and he was determined that those, because the problem, of course, is that they die down and then they have to start over again. And in the tropics, they don't die down. So that's why they keep growing.
Yeah, it's a forest of bananas.
Yeah, they keep growing until they make bananas. But he wanted his to make bananas, and he was concerned that he was determined that if he didn't let it die back, it would continue to grow.
Right.
So the backyard looked like candles that winter, wrapped in pink panther.
Yeah,
I'd seen
insulation.
I had a client of mine once, and he was.
It worked.
He had a client getting on up in age, but he had done some building of condos and things like that in the Dominican, and he had a guy down there that had a large. I would say pasture farm. They had a bunch of cattle, and he was kind of invested in that. He was just a dude that liked to do stuff, and he was like, Lance, I can get this old banana land. down there from the Dole plantation, and the country was trying to get it to be redeveloped. And pictures of that was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I mean, just wildly growing still at this time after decades.
Yeah.
And it was a forest.
Yeah.
And they would provide the heavy equipment to go in and clean it up. I'm like, why wouldn't you just grow bananas? And he's like, well, I mean, that's what they want you to do is clean it back up so you can come back
start
in
it over.
and start it over again.
We had such problems with bananas for a couple of decades that a lot of those farms ended up getting left set just to see if they would make it because there was disease in different places. So some of that has to come back, some of it doesn't. But that also gives everybody something else to study to see what made this one survive, because that's – we're very particular, us banana eaters, and we really like that Cavendish. We're not crazy about anybody else's bananas because they don't ship well and they don't ripen well off the plant. So that's what we have. We are very picky. We are very picky.
I had a friend in South Haven that he would actually ball and burlap his bananas and bring them into the garage.
Oh my goodness!
Trying to get desperate to grow bananas in Memphis.
Can you do anything like if you wanted to grow them in the garage under, say, grow lights? Would it be possible to force them to, produce something?
Yes, they would not be as profitable as other things you might be growing in your garage under lights. That's subject for another day,
if you have the lights and you have the setup, could you grow bananas?
Throw in a few bananas. Why not?
You might need an awfully big garage.
Yes, well, that's what we're counting on. Yeah. We need like a 10-foot tall garage to grow bananas, that's for sure. That's fun. First red bell peppers were big and beautiful. Now they're 1/3 the size and not as pretty. Is it the heat? Rich at the reservoir, rich at the West Res. Probably. Bell peppers will tend to take off again as the weather evens out. We've had a kind of a crazy patch here in June, and July at least. I would suggest fertilizing them with a with a vegetable food if you have that, or I just don't want you to give them too much nitrogen. You don't need any more bell pepper leaves. So what we're trying to do is get them to grow some stronger, bigger fruits at this point, and they probably are hungry at this stage. I'm seeing a lot of things.
Everything's hungry right now.
If you went about 5 feet below the soil surface, we would have a nitrogen band across the south because it's all been washed there.
Yeah, this rain, it's just been.
Yeah,
but
if you've got stuff that's grown really crazy or not at all, I mean, there's a reason for that. We can talk about it. We got a couple more texts we're going to get to here in just a minute. And this is a wonderful morning. It's great to be here. Thank you for all your well wishes and kindnesses. I'm too modest to read them out loud. We'll be right back. Coming to you now from the dance floor at Big Mamu, where they drink really strong coffee and dance every Saturday morning.
Dance it off.
That's right. Dance with it and off of it, all at the same time. Mark, we have a great question.
Yes.
This picture has come to us, this is one of those things that always happens. These were at the house when we bought it. It's like, what in the world do I do with these things? Now, this is some roses. We can see that they've cut down some trees that were clearly providing a whole lot of shade. But the roses are kind of, for folks who don't happen to be checking in with us this morning, the roses are kind of wimpy. What should they do? They look like they've grown tall but not out.
Yeah, and the tall is probably from a lack of sun, and if there were trees there, they're reaching for the sunlight. So void what Nellie said about cutting those particular roses back by a quarter. You're going to need to probably go a half to 2/3, a half,
I would think.
a half. I would fertilize them, and there's a lot of grass and stuff around them. Possibly work that soil up a little bit when you fertilize.
Mm-hmm. I would also take the actual lawn grass out from around them.
Yes,
because when you fertilize, the lawn grass will eat it all.
You
don't
the
want
grass
that.
will get all your fertilizer. And then my other question would be, were they originally planted in the right place?
Well,
do they get at least 6 hours of sunlight a day?
And if they don't, it's a bigger project to take it out. But on the other hand, you have a blank slate. You can plant what you want, some cinnamon girl or something. Any number of things would be lovely in front of your house and probably perform better than the roses. But I'd love to see them rejuvenated if it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing when you do a hard cut on a rose this time of year, how quickly
it really will
they
surprise
rebound.
You.
Nellie and I were discussing a longtime friend who is a rose expert. And her timing was 45 days.
Yeah.
From cutback till
to new
flush
flowering.
and new flower.
Which is why we do prune at the beginning part of August. So then by Halloween we've got some more flowers. We've got some, even whatever variety it is, we've got some more flowers. And frankly, that's not often the last one.
No,
you deadhead that, and you've got
say.
Thanksgiving flowers. So roses are just really worth fooling with. You can tell we feel that way.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. This is really good. Now, Jackie and Brandon says she's had such of a time with the yellow lantana. I love when we get a topic. The leaves look burnt. This is either lantana mites or spider mites. Or both.
Yeah, or both.
You can have the whole gang. At first, I thought it was too much rain. That does increase their population, but they've not bounced back. She sprayed with neem. That's a good idea. But she says it's an issue every year. So I think you should set your calendar. I would spray neem at the beginning of April when they're coming along, getting their leaves going real good. They've already grown some, but they're getting really good. And then I would cut them back at the middle of July.
Right.
So they can start over again. And by the way, don't compost all that stuff that you cut off, the sick-looking roses and the sick-looking...
Right.
Yes, sir. Lance has some.
We have Jim from So-So. He has some questions and worries about his maters, so he's ready
we'll
to
give
go.
it a try.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, what's going on today?
Oh, good morning, Garden Mama. I think I need to go to a funeral because all my tomato plants ain't doing good.
You and Mark can commiserate. He just ripped his out.
I've got 6 plants out here, some of the prettiest plants you ever seen. I've got one tomato on it, and it's about as big as a golf ball.
Mm-hmm. But it's been too hot for them to set fruit. But if your plants are in good shape, you're going to be way ahead of the rest of us.
These ain't about 9 foot tall.
Good heavens.
Whoa.
What are you feeding them?
Lot fertilized.
Well, I wouldn't fertilize anymore, but I
don't fertilize them. I could talk to you about this about a month
I
ago.
remember that now that you say
Little
that.
blooms, no fertilize.
So now's the time because they can bloom. They've got plenty of leaves. As soon as the nighttime temperatures get below 70 degrees for a week, you will get tomatoes. They will make more fruit than you can eat. Okay.
One other question, gentlemen, will you? I worked oil field all my life. I used to do a lot of work around Yazoo City, what they call Little Yazoo, Tinsley, and Oil City. And they've got some trees up there. They told me they brought them up there and sent them out to replace balsam wood. These things grow super fast. I brought one back and put it in my yard back in '83, and it was about 3 foot tall, and it wasn't looking good. And my nephew cut it down with a machete. It got a brand new growth off the side of it, and by the end of that growing season, that tree was already taller than the house.
Does it bloom with purple flowers?
It had beautiful, had brown husk on it and blue tulip-looking flowers come out of it.
Love princess flowers.
It was a mess to clean up when it got fall of the year.
That's true. We thought I speak broadly, not me personally, but we thought we were going to grow those because it grows fast and the wood is very strong. But here it grows so fast that the wood is not that strong.
Right.
So we ended up not having an industry that we were hoping for.
I grew.
But what's the name of the? I got a neighbor that lives
Princess
about 2 miles from me.
Well, they're Princess
I seen
Paulownias.
his yard. He had these things in his yard, and I stopped by and talked to him one day about it.
So pretty.
He said he had bought these things. He had them things brought in here.
So
I said,
pretty.
"Wow, I got them growing wild in my yard."
Mm-hmm. They're beautiful
Are
trees.
you kidding me? Now he's cut his down.
A lot of people have. They just they have so much litter.
Because they're growing under my house and messing up my foundation. So I
Yeah,
had to
they'll
get
do
rid of
that.
it.
They'll do that. But it's princess flower or tibicina is the name of it. It's a wonderful, wonderful tree. It just needs to be used in.
What's the name of
different
them again now?
Princess flower.
Crazy flower.
Princess. You know, like the queen and the king, the princess flower.
Oh, well, that guy over there told me they call them a royal blue.
Yeah,
Bluebell?
it's a royal paulownia is the other name for it. Yeah, absolutely.
I've still got 3 of them left growing here. And Garden Mama, I seen one of them come up under the edge of my house over here and grow 40 foot under my house, and lily white.
You cannot stop a plant. When a plant wants to grow, you cannot stop it. We're going to wrap this up. Say hello to everybody in so for us because we're about to be knocked out of here by the news folks. But thank you for calling today. I appreciate hearing from you.
Yes,
Love
ma'am.
those
Bye-bye.
trees. The tomatoes are going to be fine. We're going to all be jealous. We're going to all be at his house trying to get
Exactly.
some more fruit before too long. I don't know how to tell you this, y'all, but you have our permission. Today is National Ice Cream Sandwich Day. Uh-oh.
And it's actually National Mustard Day also. So
Now, those don't go together.
You could put some
No,
mustard on your ice cream
don't
sandwich.
do
What do you think,
that.
Lance?
What do they, as long as it's like a hot dog flavored ice cream sandwich, I'd do it. But yeah,
Oh,
I
y'all
know
are
you
making
would.
me so sad.
Yeah.
This is
You know
terrible.
they've come up
and
with
I
one
love mustard,
somewhere.
but not on ice cream.
You know they've come up with a hot dog flavored ice cream sandwich somewhere in the world.
You
know
can
they
bet
have.
there's been an episode of Chopped where somebody made hot dog ice cream. I'm guaranteeing. I've never seen it, but I'm guaranteeing it. It makes my heart hurt, but it's true.
I'm painting a picture in my mind of sitting in a sunflower field eating an ice cream sandwich dipped in mustard.
This is terrible.
That sounds like a great August afternoon, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
Sounds
like a
awful.
true
Yum.
Doctor.
Let's see.
Some
Beth's in
Pepto-Bismols.
Columbus today, and she's got this Solomon seal in a pot for too long. She wants to put it in the ground. When is the best time to do that? I planted mine when somebody gave it to me, and it was literally the middle of the summer, and the plant didn't care. But yours looks like it's been taken care of, so I'd probably wait until late September, maybe early October, to transplant it. Beautiful, beautiful hostas, too.
And she's not the only one that has Solomon seal in a pot that needs to be planted.
Well, it's a very wonderful plant, very durable. We're going to carry on, y'all. We're going to step away for just a moment, and we're going to come back and do another hour here with you. We got things to talk about and stuff we want to suggest to answer some more questions, and quite frankly, just talk to you about how great gardening is. Come on back for more of the Garden Mama Show.
Carry on.
Pretty good timing today. I answered a question before I had to start talking. That's good. That doesn't always happen. You'll see me writing and talking at the same time. Sometimes that doesn't work, but today it did. Good question, and one we don't get often enough, y'all. This is really, really terrific. Alan says, well, what happened? His jalapenos were looking good, and then the bottom of them is not right. They fall off. It's a mess. We don't say often enough, blossom end rot is not just a tomato problem.
Yeah.
It's also it can even be an eggplant problem, but it's also a pepper problem. And what happens is that the moisture to the plant is inconsistent. It's too wet one day and too dry the next. And sometimes the calcium sprays that we use for tomatoes can help, but it's really most important to get the water consistent. So that's what he says. Now they're growing like crazy.
Yeah.
You know? So he has the problem, the growing part under control. Now we got to get the fruiting part to work better.
Now I want to know how many jalapenos he has, and if he needs any, I can take care of that for you.
Very successful with your jalapenos this
Yeah.
year. Well, that's the thing. A lot of people can't grow bell peppers at all, but they can grow jalapenos or cayennes or Tabascos or poblanos, even some of the big things, anchos and those kinds of peppers, because they are just different plants. They are related to each other. But if you have to put them into, well, let's say if this was if this was a Netflix series, okay, the upstairs people would be the bell peppers, and the
Right.
servants would be the hot peppers that just
Right.
keep making all the time. The snooty folks are the bell peppers.
And here's the funny thing. I'm going to tell on myself, people. I plant a lot of vegetables that I really don't even eat.
He does do that.
I do it and just give them away. And of course, the tomatoes, that's my passion. This year was a terrible tomato year for me personally, and I think for several other people, as we've
It's a
heard.
rough year.
But I've got jalapenos that I don't eat running out my ears.
Well, I'll relieve you of some of those. So that's okay.
And I know Lance will too.
John in Northwest Alabama has identified himself. He is the banana man. And I really I'm so impressed with that. Now I'm even more impressed. He has sent us a picture of his rose that he does not even need to prune because it's still in full bloom. It's really beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that. It's a creepy, climby thing, all over the place. Really lovely, right on the stairs going up to his pool. So that's very nice.
Great.
Beautiful thing. Really, really sweet. In Flora, Laura has black-eyed Susans in the field in front of the house, and they are dead. If I cut them back, would they grow and bloom again? What do you think?
Maybe.
If you had a whole lot of rain, they may just be wet.
Yeah.
And I certainly would not. Now, let me take that back. If this is my spot, especially if it's in the front, there's people going to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one thing. So I'd go tug on it. And if it pulls up too easily in my hand, I'd figure this is going to be a long time. Maybe take them and plant them somewhere that you're not going to have to worry about them so much, or just replace them with something else. Now, on the other hand, if they're still juicy rooted, everybody's happy there, they're just dead on top, cut them back. They'll come back. But I really do think that sometimes that's that right plant, right place again. Yeah. If we're putting a flowering perennial that only blooms in the middle of the summer in front of something else to be shown, it's going to bother us a whole lot more when it's not looking great than if it's over on the other side or on the back of that bed, So, because things do come and go. I saw what had been a beautiful bed of purple coneflowers that looks like sticks. And I think it just they can take more water than a black-eyed Susan. So I tend to think that things have been kind of wet in that area and they just lost all their leaves and flowers. But they'll probably come back. Black-eyed Susans probably will too.
I'd give it a whirl.
Yeah, me too.
Make sure they haven't rotted.
This with the caveat that it's your garden.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like it's your tank top. You can wear it or not. You can keep that flower or not. It's up to you, ultimately. And we're going to help you do it the best for what you want to do. But nobody's going to force you to keep them or throw them away. We don't have to do that. This picture is one that I need to keep. This is the best picture of sequential line of holes in a canna leaf that you're going to see.
Oh,
okay.
Perfect.
I thought Bigfoot had taken a bite of that thing.
His teeth are kind of far apart. Yeah, I like that. This is actually how you know you have canna leaf rollers. Before the leaves are rolled up into tight tubes and the flowers never come out.
Right.
Because they'll chew for a while, and then they get down into the plant. And that's where they do their damage. They start eating the leaves and spinning. It's very clever, and they're very pretty, but it takes away from your flowers a lot. So the other question about that, of course, is what do you do now and what do you do later? And now the answer is to cut off the damage and unroll and look for the worms. And I love the idea of someone gave this to me a long time ago. Just lay them out, and the birds will come eat them, and they do.
Oh yeah.
It's very.
If you have chickens,
chickens are more than happy to take care of that problem. But that's only just now, because if they've been in the clump, they're going to be in the clump. So when we get to fall, this is another one that you cut all the way down before we freeze, and then start in with some BT dust or something that's going to actually control those things, and at the same time cleans up your garden all at the same, because they don't look great when they have canna leaf rollers.
Yeah, and if you need a lesson on cutting cannas in the fall, I'll give you my address later. And
you can come over.
The third Saturday in October, everybody's welcome to come to my house. Bring a machete.
No one is writing this down.
No, they're not.
Because nobody wants to help us with that.
Yeah, late October, early November is when I really have to start tipping the garbage man.
That's the best time to do that, because you can't compost all of it.
There's no way I could compost those.
You can compost if it doesn't have bugs in it.
If I had another lot.
Yes. Absolutely. But anyway, it's a beautiful photograph, and I appreciate you sending it. It's just really crazy, isn't it? The hostas have the same holes. I think the hostas are probably slugs and snails.
Slugs and snails, yeah.
But the damage is so consistent in the canna leaf that it looks like what happens when the canna leaf rollers start to munch. And they munch because they munch their way across in a straight line, and then they go down and munch their way across in the other, and then they wrap the whole thing up, and your flowers are toast at that point. But in terms of the hostas, I really, slugs and snails are our biggest problem, and when it's been a wet summer, we are more likely to have that for sure.
They are definitely plentiful right now.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Y'all are so funny.
Maybe we should ask the listeners the answer to the question about what eats okra.
Y'all, tell us what you think is the answer to this question. Go ahead.
I had a gentleman on Facebook message me yesterday and said that something was eating his okra, taking big bites out of his okra, and Nellie and I, neither one could actually
The questions we want to ask are just so incredible. How do you get along with your neighbors?
So I blamed it on his neighbors. I'm like, I don't know.
Are they cut off completely? Because in that case, it could be a deer or something just biting it at the stem. But I've seen squirrels get up on an okra and just chew into the pod and mess it up and not really like it. It's like it's the same squirrels that take one bite out of the tomato and throw it on the ground. Yeah. And you just, I mean, squirrels are my spirit animal, but I get mad at myself sometimes. No.
Squirrels are definitely not my spirit animal. My spirit animal would be the hawk or the owl that eats the squirrels.
The bigger one. Well, and deer will eat okra. We have someone weighing in, so I'm not wrong about that.
Yeah, and this gentleman could have deer where he lives, possibly.
When deer are hungry, thirsty, browsing, you can't really predict their behavior. No. All these folks that want you to believe that you can buy silver plants, and they won't eat this or they won't eat that. That's true up to a point. Yeah. But the deer are going to eat, and so it's kind of like a lot of other things. You just have to figure out a way to put up a fence or manipulate around it. We're doing that. In fact, that's one of my next pieces because we've got raccoons. In South Louisiana, more of them. Actually, have raccoons here, but more of them. So we're giving the edible part a little fencing to try and control that. Yeah, they can climb over part of it, but not all of it. So that's good. Y'all are so funny. This is wonderful stuff this morning. I think we should wrap up lantana. Let's talk about lantana because there have been so many questions this morning, Mark. What do you think? We see lantana right now, and they're either blooming and looking good, or they kind of look like somebody torched them. They don't, that burning look. Tell folks what to do.
Prune. Cut them back. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This time of year, a pretty severe pruning on lantanas. The old New Gold lantana, in my particular yard, that one, you don't really have to do that. It tends to not get the same problems that the more uprights do. But it wouldn't hurt to do it if it needs it.
If it's slopping onto something else, or maybe the flowers just don't look as good as they did.
And the great thing about lantana, you can either do proper pruning and go to a leaf joint and cut it off, or you can be pretty rough with a lantana. It's coming back. It's going to come back. Clean up the clippings because 9 times out of 10 there's spider mites or lantana mites on it. That's a big problem this year.
Big problem.
It's about time to start seeing some white flies on all that stuff.
Our friends.
I haven't seen.
It's true
yet.
Though. It's right. You can literally set your clock. Because you know when they're going to appear. And as we get closer to the peak of hurricane season, of course, we see a lot more white flies. Yeah. When you get the lantanas cut back, do we fertilize? What do you think?
Lightly. Lantana is not a heavy feeder, but any plant's going to need some sort of nutrients to produce flowers.
And you will get another bloom before the winter.
And you will get another bloom. There are several varieties of lantana that don't look pretty until the fall, like the trailing lavender one that's been so popular.
That's very true. That's been a popular basket plant.
But it's day length sensitive, and in the middle of summer you won't see hardly any flowers.
No, you'll wonder why it's not blooming. Yeah. But we don't have a tag for that. We don't necessarily. They don't necessarily tell us that. So that's why you get to listen to the Garden Mama Show and hear wisdom.
You have had to work in a greenhouse full of lantanas to know that one.
Well, and the truth of the matter is that lantanas are not all alike.
They are.
I liked what you said about the newer varieties that are intended not to get very tall.
Right.
They may just need you to clip off a few flowers so that they can start over again. But the New Gold and those modern ones as well, they don't make the berries.
No.
They don't make a seed. They're not capable of it. And I think that reduces their growth as well. It controls it. I don't mean reduces it like badly. I mean like keeps it from growing up your arm as you're standing there.
But, and they don't produce the berries, which, by the way, keep your children away from the berries.
Teach your animals not to mess with them.
But they will produce, the spent flower stem.
Right.
That would have done. So you need to get those off.
Yeah.
Because
it looks like a little star when the flower falls off.
Yeah. So you need to get all that off, and then just rejuvenate them. It's kind of like with the roses, actually.
We really do want to prepare for the fall bloom. So
Yes.
it is kind of the same thing.
You know, and some of the land, like my big lantana, which Nellie and I think is sunrise or sunset, it didn't bloom till late this year.
That was one of the issues with that was we could never quite. You have to look at them next to each other to tell which was sunrise and which was sunset.
Yeah, so we're just going to call it Jim. But it didn't bloom till really late this year. Mm-hmm. You know.
And it will keep blooming.
Oh,
it's a
will.
good one. It'll go straight on through. The other piece that I would add as well is be sure that the soil drains well. If you have an area that you never can quite get enough water to, that's where you want to grow lantana.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need an irrigation system.
And look, my prize lantana is in a flower bed that has water requirements every 4 feet. So, they change every 4 feet. So, you know. You water on this end, you don't water on that end. But give them a haircut.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
The person who's telling us that the deer will eat okra is also telling us that they'll eat the leaves. You wake up with sticks in your garden. I have seen that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Lived here 40 years, never had that happen. One year they wiped him out.
Yeah.
That's true. They find you when something else isn't available, I suppose. But what to fertilize lantana with? Really almost anything is okay. I mean, if it says it's for flowers, that's great. I like a granular more than one that you mix in water for lantanas because I think it lasts a bit longer.
Anything, you know, gosh, one of my favorite fertilizers for all blooming things is one that, an unnamed company makes that's actually designed for bougainvillea.
Well, tell us, what is it?
It's the Fertilome Bougainvillea fertilizer.
Okay. See, I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be low nitrogen and very high in phosphorus and potassium and trace elements because bougainvillea has to have all of that. So that's great.
I like that
one.
That's
a great tip.
I use it on a lot of things. I actually use rose fertilizer on a lot of things.
Oh, that's fun. I don't believe in going through the winter with a half bag of fertilizer. So I'm likely, if it's July or August and I have something I can feed, I'm going to look on the shelf first and see what's at my house. But when you have to go and purchase something, there are some very specific formulas that are good for some things. And the ones for flowers are important. Ones made for citrus are very, there's a few things, many things you can just use whatever's in the cabinet. And I encourage you to do that. I really do.
And do your research, and that goes back to something that Nellie and I both harp on all the time, is find a local nursery.
Yeah, get to know somebody.
Where they know their fertilizers. Because often it's like there's a fertilizer labeled for a lot of things differently, but when you read the label, they're all the same.
Yeah. It's true. It's kind of like a shirt in 4 different colors. It's the same shirt.
It's the same shirt.
This is a good question. Is there anything I can do about gripeweed? It's taking
Move.
This is also called chamber bitter. No, that didn't help either. I have it both of my houses.
Oh gosh.
Gripeweed is pernicious. If y'all don't know it, let me tell you, describe it because you'll see it in your garden at some point. We're now rolling up on 20 years since Katrina. Gripeweed was here, but it got a real boost because we got a whole lot more around the Katrina time. I think it was one of those things that those seeds just got caught up and came with us. But almost looks like a mimosa, but it has little yellow seeds under the bottom of each of those pinnate leaves. It is not your friend.
And every one of those seeds is fertile.
Oh yeah. Sadly, it just can go gangbusters before you know it. I have to tell you that I wanted him to play this and he didn't even know it. So today the psychic phenomena is working. Y'all say hello to my friends. It's a beautiful day. Wow, on the radio. Such fun. So much fun. We appreciate y'all being on the radio with us today. All y'all folks, these texts are just rocking in here today. Thank you very, very much. Corinne says, my pole beans that I trained to climb on a large oval trellis have quit producing. Was it the heat? Yes, and they also burn out at about this time. Should I just pull them down and plant more? Yes. This is the perfect time for that. I'm really happy that they worked. The problem with pole beans is often that they take a couple of weeks more than bush beans to bear. So if the weather goes really hot, really wet, really dry, sometimes you don't get as much out of them as you do out of the bush beans. But
Right.
the good news is that, yes, you can replant the pole beans now. I would dig all that stuff into the soil where they are, because that's all full of nitrogen.
Yeah.
I love nitrogen-fixing plants.
Yeah.
I like when they bring their own to the party. It's really helpful.
Exactly.
It's very helpful. Let's see. The pumpkin seedlings. Oh, this is great. This is the grandchild pumpkin planting project. If you haven't done this with your kids, the other one, of course, is to give them an amaryllis bulb and a yardstick for Christmas, because then you can watch the thing grow and count the progress on the yardstick. These are fun projects. Everybody ought to do at least once. The pumpkin seedlings are 7 feet, anyway, and they're lying down and vining. That's good. Do they need fertilizer now or later, and what? Yes, they need fertilizer all the time.
Yeah.
This is when we talk about that reservoir business. Don't go where the roots are going to be, but go near the plant and just make a little hollow. Take a gallon jug, like water comes in, or milk or something, poke holes in the bottom of it and set it there where it will drain onto the crown of your vines. Keep that full of water and liquid fertilizer till, I don't know, the pumpkins are there. I mean, weeks and weeks and weeks, because they do take a long time. But that'll help a whole lot. That will promote their growth, and it will also give you much better looking leaves and bigger ones.
An
and fast.
Extremely hungry plant.
Yeah, very hungry. Very hungry
plant.
Even hungrier than squashes and mirlitons and the other things that we sometimes think of using a reservoir for. Sometimes you do it with the squashes or the other kinds of squash, simply because the vines are so thick that the water gets to the leaves, but you throw fertilizer out there, it's not likely going to get to the soil because it's all so covered up and thick. So that's the other reason we do that way. Peggy Martin, hello. My Peggy Martin is looking yellow. Is it too late to feed it? Susan from Columbia, no, it's absolutely not too late to feed it. In fact, I just put I rooted 2 Peggy Martins from my big Peggy Martin.
Well, congratulations.
And they both, I rooted 2 because I wasn't sure if they'd take. You never can tell. But
That's
they both did.
One.
They both did. And so now they do need a little fertilizer. This is a fine time to feed that plant. I would, if you have rose food, please use it, because it's a good choice for her. If you recall, the 20-year anniversary of Katrina is when we got Peggy Martin. And that's because when Peggy Martin went back to her house in South Louisiana, the water was still up way over the porch of this elevated old house, but Peggy Martin was 10 feet tall and in bloom in the water. So that's why I may be exaggerating, it may have been 9 feet, I don't remember. But the point is, the whole story is her indomitable quality, and that's why we have taken this rose and made it our emblem. And it's a beautiful, beautiful rose.
It is a beautiful rose. I have failed with that one a couple of times. I can't believe I'm admitting that on the air, but I have.
It's okay. We'll fix it.
Yeah, I know.
The problem that people get with when we have trouble with roses that are like Peggy Martin, it's because we don't realize how aggressive they are.
Right.
And they literally they will literally grow the first year or two. They'll grow faster than you can take care of them sometimes, and that's very true.
That is very true.
Mine has pulled over 3 trellises.
Yes, I know.
Climbed up the magnolia tree, bloomed in the magnolia, just crazy plant. But that's why we love it so much, because it can do that. I saw some in Ohio, pictures. I wasn't in Ohio, but I saw some pictures. They were so neat and cute.
Oh, yeah. They're so well behaved.
And there they call them the Katrina rose. They don't even name them Peggy Martin. They just call them, these are the Katrina roses.
Yeah.
Yeah, yours is looking good. That's funny. Susan, Columbia, that's so interesting. I'm so happy that it's plenty of time to feed those. We see that bloom a couple of times. Oh, here's the raccoon report.
Uh-oh.
Oh, dear. He chewed a hole in the pool liner.
Oh.
But he's in a have-a-heart. Don't call PETA on us yet, okay? I have a feeling that have-a-heart's going to travel a certain distance before he's allowed to get out of it. He is cute, though.
That would not be good.
No. There's a relationship that we have with the critters that we live with. There are people who live, and I'm sure there are a few here, but they probably go to the park occasionally at least see. But there are people who live in concrete jungles where they don't actually see anything green. And I participate in a whole bunch of gardening groups online, and one of them is for new gardeners, that the first-time gardeners. she had never seen any of the bugs that she's seeing this year because she just finally got a place to live that she could put some containers out.
Right.
And you can lose your heart so strongly when suddenly it seems like it's all bugs and you don't know what they are.
Yeah.
But how can you be afraid of a caterpillar?
It scares people. It scares a lot of people.
I don't understand that.
It really
does. To enlighten me as to what that's about. Okay, here we go. Chris in Forest County. 2 juvenile apple trees right next to each other, 2 different varieties, same soil, planting with amendments, and one is dying. Too much water from the rains, he says. I don't believe it's a lack of water, nor do I believe it's too much water, no visible predators. What I would do before you determine that it's dead, because apple trees can have a rough start and still turn out to be lovely trees, I would do the scratch test. I would make sure you go and just start out at the tip and scratch that bark until you find where it's green. Go ahead. It's not time to prune apples, but you've got a problem. So go ahead and prune down to where you've got some green, and let's see if we can get some new growth to come back on it. It could be that the roots have shut down and nothing's going to happen, but we won't know unless we try. So
Exactly.
I think it sounds like a really sharp thing to do, but if it's dying, we want to make sure it's not dead. And then at that point, we can push it forward. And if you feel like you have to lift it up, fix the soil or something, yeah, you can do that, but I do that a little bit later in the fall.
Yeah,
it's kind of a shocking time right now.
It'd be a rough time.
Yeah, it's a shocking time.
Yeah, it's like my sumac. Everybody's like,
yeah.
Your sumac is dead, and I'm like, I'll never believe it.
It's not really dead.
It took it 2 weeks.
Well,
it just went poof.
Yeah, it had to get. We don't realize the value, the power, and the absolute, roll of the dice that root growth is. Sometimes when we transplant something in the conditions, even when the conditions are perfect, it can be iffy. But when the conditions are middle of the summer, then we just have to say, okay, we're going to do the best we can and be a little bit patient. A lot of people would have said after a week, yank it out of here, it's gone. Well, no, you didn't mess it up yet. Come on, give it a little more time, see if it can come around.
And the old adage of, twice as big around, half as deep.
Yeah.
When you're digging that hole, if you're just getting a little sweaty and you're a little tired and you think, oh, that's big enough, dig a little more.
Yeah, just a little bit more.
Dig a little more.
So right, just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more.
Absolutely.
It's always best to over-prepare than to just assume you did it right.
Well, because you're not going to dig that hole again, hopefully.
Right.
If you have to dig it again, you're really not going to be happy about it. So. Oh, my goodness. I'm amazed. Talking about gripeweed.
Gripeweed.
Here we are. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Chris in Tupelo. We extend our condolences to you. He has a peace lily that we would like to keep alive from his mama's services. And I got to tell you, the thing that has got me about peace lilies is they are absolutely the toughest plant in the world in the shade.
In the shade.
In a container where hardly anything else. You could put maybe a potted palm next to it, like one of those auricas that's never going to do anything but sit there and get a new leaf every year. It's not. They're not. This is not a rapid growing thing, but you can put them in that particular kind of environment. In the case of this one, these particular peace lilies look to me like you just got a couple of brown leaves, you got a couple of brown flowers on things. But what I'm going to say is, because I've seen these exact things before, my life is full of peace lilies, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the damaged part. And if they've not been repotted, I'm going to repot them in a really nice houseplant soil, something that you've got lots of organic matter in, but that still drains well. You can buy it in a bag or you can mix it with my recipe. Either way works. But I think we've got a problem where they're trying to grow and they've got maybe sun one day or sun half the day, and you don't want any of that. You want it to be light but not sun.
Exactly.
And so that's really that's the hardest thing to find. So that's and I do like to fertilize them. I'll fertilize them with this when I water them. I also water them from the bottom as often as I water them from the top. So
peace lilies, having dealt in a retail environment with lots of houseplants. People get those and they have sentimental value, and they'll bring them in or bring you pictures, and they often, this may have been passed to them 4 or 5 years ago, and they're still in the same soil that they were in.
That often happens.
And there's not much soil left there, so they're almost growing soilless.
Yes, almost.
And you just have to repot them.
When you look down in there's little things sticking out, but it's not actually soil.
Yeah, and there's no soil down there.
And if you have repotted them since the funeral and whatnot, then you may just be seeing a reaction to the new pots. Sometimes that happens too. But it really is a matter of that the light is the biggest deal, and watering them consistently and regularly, but not, you don't want them to, if you put water in their saucer and they don't take it up, take the saucer out of there and get rid of it. Because they should take it up in about half an hour.
Yeah,
So.
and trust me, if you don't water it, it will let you know.
Oh, yeah. It'll collapse.
Yeah.
It'll be so depressing. And the other thing, of course, is that these are very, very beautiful plants because they do bloom. So
Yes.
I put water in, but I also mix in a fertilizer that has a flower component to it.
Right.
It's not hard to do. And really, if you set these things up just sort of as a rhythm, your peace lily is going to be the one that cues you that other things need something.
And when you repot, pretty much rule of thumb, don't go more than 2 to 3 inches wider and deeper than the one it's in.
Yeah.
You don't want to overpot a plant.
We don't. If we overpot, we end up with root growth for 2 years, and that really is not what we're looking for. We
And
want
the
something
plant
on
just
top.
sits there.
We're
Plant
still
just sits
trying
there.
But they're both good looking. I do think that's what we have going on here is a mismanagement of light in this case. But you're going to do fine. They're going to be okay. Let's see. You had some beautiful caterpillars in your photos today at supertalk.tv. They're very, very nice. Here we go. This is the comment when I said we're afraid of caterpillars. Some caterpillars can be very harmful to humans. That is true. We do have to learn one from the other. That's absolutely true. If you have never had the misfortune to step on or to have a stinging caterpillar get you, you may not know what we're talking about, but you can have a whelp on your arm that is just horrible. I've had one myself. I stepped on one once. Couldn't walk for 2 days. It was really awful because your foot blows up,
I've avoided that, knock on wood.
And they are more prevalent in our coastal area.
Yeah.
The closer you get, I shouldn't say the coastal area, but the closer you get to the Gulf Coast, the more the oak trees seem to host them. And since we have plenty of oak trees everywhere, you're still going to find those caterpillars. Like everything else, each year they're able to survive. The temperatures they're able to survive move a little farther north, so they do too.
Here they
Sorry,
come.
don't want to have to tell y'all this, but it's true. So there we go. Chris says that's okay. Good, thank you, Chris. Cheryl's in Tupelo. What's the best thing for powdery mildew on my zinnias? And she's in Vestavia Hills, Alabama. We got 2 Alabamas today. That's wonderful. Hey, y'all.
You got a DC too.
I saw that. That was
The great garden, Mama.
That
I
was
love
very
that.
nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for
They're
sending
great
that to
folks.
me.
Yeah.
They're lovely. Thank you.
We'll have to start doing a little 1 minute zone 20 segment for
Okay.
DC.
We can
help
because
out.
they are not here.
Yeah, they ain't around us. And it's hot up there. There's so much hot air always, and then the concrete. So
That's true.
We gotta
Washington D.C.
Yeah.
Yep, that's absolutely true. Powdery mildew on zinnias. Well, our zinnia problems are sometimes variety related. So if you're not growing, if you're growing some really interesting, beautiful, wonderful zinnia that no one's ever heard of, that might be why they get powdery mildew. I'm serious now. Some varieties are just more susceptible than others. But crowding is a big part of it. And when you plant zinnias, if you're growing something that needs to be, it's going to have a giant flower on it, those plants need to be 8 inches a foot apart,
These
something like
Colombian zinnias with the powdery substance.
that. I'm afraid not quite. No, not quite. But we'll talk a little bit more about that when I remember what I was thinking about. And we got a couple more questions. And more Peace Lily questions. Because y'all are wonderful. Thank you for being here today. We'll be right back. For those of you who speak French, you're having a fine time right now. Welcome into the Garden Mama Show. Mark Patrick is here with me. Lance is keeping us all laughing this morning with his song choices because we appreciate him so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all are great. Is there a recipe to amend my soil and raised beds for fall vegetables? Yes, and I'm going to take your telephone number and I'm going to text it to you, but I can't do it from right here. So that's, I'm writing down soil mix. Okay, and you'll get that probably not today, but as soon as I can get both pieces of paper together, the computer and the text number, I'll send it to you. If you want to get it quicker, you can probably send me an email. That's always mamaaonair@yahoo.com. Y'all are so good about that. Y'all fill up a whole bunch of stuff for me. I appreciate that. I have a peace lily from my father's funeral. Oh, wow. He died in 1995. The plant's 30 years old. I think yours are even older than mine. Wow. Mine are from my mother-in-law's funeral in 99. That's where mine started.
That's a while.
Yeah, they have that capacity. And when they're one of those plants that when you get them in the right spot, they'll just be there. And I have divided those plants. I now have two of them. They're both they're named after two people, and they are big. So eventually I'm going to have to divide them again. And that's another case where it's another wonderful gift to share with someone because they're just such beautiful plants. But I think it's another one where if you just set it up right and leave it alone, it's going to be a fine plant. But people, if it's at your office and you're putting in the leftover coffee every day and that's all it's getting, the peace lily's not going to make it.
It's not going to be happy.
Not going to be too happy. Let's see. Chris in Tupelo says that they've been repotted, and that's what I thought they look like. But he's looking for the right amount of light for them. Chris, you know, this is my children talking one day because I have to put them in a place where my mother's cats that I also inherited.
Exactly.
It's true.
There you go.
My heart is with you, Chris, because I know exactly. Bill in Perkinston says, not sure the species, but the situation occurred over just days. He's in Poplarville. Is it a goner? You know, unless it's overwhelmed, it's a small shrub, and it literally has just defoliated. We don't think of that as happening at this point unless there's a fungus problem. For example, dogwood might defoliate, or red maple, Japanese maple might defoliate because it has had that fungus since the fall. So if the leaves have little spots in them, Bill, I would figure that's what it was. Rake it away, drench the whole thing with a fungicide, and just leave it be. But if you want to take your thumbnail test and make sure this thing is actually still alive, go down each one of those twigs until you find something green and then cut it off to that point. Let it come back for you in the next few weeks. It may not be. And again, if you reach down and tug gently and it comes right out in your hand, you can figure that root rot has won. And that's true of almost anything. Plants are not supposed to let go of their roots to just a bare touch. I'm not talking about yanking them out the ground as if it were gripeweed. I'm talking about just disturbing the roots a little bit to see if they're loose. Sometimes they are. And sometimes it's a problem. But I don't know. I don't think it's a goner, but I don't know.
Never give up.
I don't ever give up.
You know.
I do sometimes replace plants.
I do. Probably more regularly than most people do.
And I do have plants I don't like. So if they go bad, I'm very judgmental. But for the most part, I just want to see if it'll grow.
Well, I have told people that, a lot of people, listeners, friends, gardeners, would be shocked at how I have to rotate plants out of our garden. Well, because it is so...
That's why we have to get you into a video format that shows people that if you really want to work this hard, your garden too can look this good because his looks really good. But it's work.
It's
work. It's good work. You don't have to have a gym membership.
No.
You don't have to do a lot of other things you don't have to do because you're getting all your good exercise right out there in your own yard. But it's also true that you have to have the mental to put it. You have to know what you're doing, but you also have the willingness to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes we give up.
Keep going.
Yeah.
And that can lead us into work in the garden. We wanted to talk about heat push.
Yeah.
which that word heat adds, it can go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about heat push. Let's talk about heat stress, heat exhaustion, heat stroke. Peach has pushed himself to a point of heat exhaustion.
Not just the plants.
Recently.
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
just the
So be
plants.
careful out there. Hydrate. Be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Pace yourself. Start early.
Start very early.
Or garden, with a head lantern on.
Mm-hmm.
Go at night. But Nellie and I were talking about how plants this year, with the rain and the temperatures, they're growing at astounding rates.
It's amazing. There's some things that are just, and you don't know if that's going to be a permanent, that they'll be, for instance, some of the shrubs that are just shrieking up, they may or may not harden up and stay that way. We hope so. But I have crotons. I have tropical plants that are just growing like crazy that have never done that before because they've had plenty of water and really, really plenty of heat. And there's some things that like it better than I do.
Yeah, and so with that whole heat push is where that fertilizing thing comes in, because
Truly.
the rain has leached a lot of the nutrients out of the soils, and the faster it grows, the more food it needs.
Yeah, and plus it also helps to regulate. Sometimes the water coming up, the cells themselves are just expanding with the water. But if there's some nutrient in there, they actually can use it.
Yeah.
As opposed to just blowing up. They can blow up and be healthier.
It's a healthy expansion
Yes, they can
rather
have
than just
stronger cell walls, for example, and bigger flower buds and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's important all the way around. I really do. You're absolutely right about that. There are a couple of things that are just for Lance. But because everybody likes him so much, and likes what we talk about with his regard to bartending,
oh no,
we're going to tell you about this, the drink of the summer. There's always a drink of the summer, isn't there? This one is so weird I had to bring it to the table. This is the Hugo Spritz. Now, the Hugo Spritz is the spaghetti. One of them is the cheap beer and an Aperol, basically. It's like putting
like an Aperol spritz, but a little bit more.
But a little bit
more alcohol in there.
But more alcohol because you're using a Miller Lite or something, or High Life or one of those things. But I'm really fascinated by this whole business. The idea is that the people relate how many of these things you're ordering based on how the economy is doing. So we have to wait until October to get the results of it. But over time, we may have had the NASCAR Spritz, we have the Hobo Negroni, and we have had the Trailer Park Spritz, which is often a bottled beer, often a Miller High Life topped up with that splash of Aperol and then some lemon juice.
And you use Saint Germain in this.
And I was going to say,
elderflower.
To me, it would be Saint Germain and lemon, but I don't know that. I don't want the beer.
You would substitute the elderberry or elderflower for the lemon balm.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
That would be your substitution.
That would be better. That'd be better taste for me.
Yep.
I like it. I don't know if we're going to try that.
I like spritzes, the Aperol spritzes in those, but as far they're a little tart, sometimes a little bitter.
That's why I like them.
But yeah, this one sounds pretty good with Prosecco, a beer, and then you throw in the elderberry, which is Saint Germain. Good
and you
stuff.
thought all we had to talk about was margaritas with a beer popped into them.
I know.
So we got all these other things. We have to get out of here because Buddy's waiting to come in and do the handyman show. So we should leave now. But guess what? There'll be more Garden Mama next week, along with all of y'all, I hope. Take care.
Production of SuperTalk Mississippi.